My name is Taryn, and I work for KCARD, Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development. We were created about a little over 20 years ago with tobacco settlement funds. Kentucky saw the writing on the wall. Kentucky farmers needed help diversifying away from tobacco, and someone needed to help Kentucky farmers with business planning. So I always joke around and say that my job is kind of the not so fun side of ag, because I work with computers and spreadsheets and numbers and all that kind of stuff. So one of the main things that I want to talk about is why in the world you should even create a business plan. So, show of hands, how many of you have recently, like in the past year, bought some kind of furniture and had to put it together using some instructions? Okay, could you have done it without the instructions? Some of you? So I bought a bookshelf for my son. I kind of glanced at the instructions, and I was like, I don't need these. I got this. And then I realized that there was one shelf that was supposed to have a hole on it on this side, and I had put it on that side. So I had to take the whole thing apart and redo it. So it kind of worked, but if I had just followed the instructions step by step, then I wouldn't have had to take the whole thing apart again and put it back together. I could have just rolled with it, right? For me, that's how I look at business planning. It is not a boring document that you just kind of suffer through writing. It is really your instructions on how to get to where you want to be. I wholeheartedly believe in this statement: a dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. Because we all have a dream, right? We all have this vision of our farm. But how in the world do you get there? A business plan can help with that. There's 4 core pieces of the business plan that we help with. And I'm going to go through these quickly. But there is a template on our website that you can download. It comes to you as a Word document, and it's just questions that you fill out. And then we can help you make it look nice and pretty and kind of round it out. But that is one thing. And I'll have my cards up here, so if you want me to email it to you, I can do that as well. So, the business description, I think sometimes this is the easiest part to write. Yeah. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah. So the website is www.KCARD, so KCARD.info. And that should get you to the website. INFO, yeah. It's weird. I don't know why we have INFO instead of like .org or something like normal people. We had to be weird, I guess. So, all right. So sometimes I think this is the easiest part because I'm an emotional person. I know I've only been talking to y'all for a few minutes, but you may have already been able to tell that. I am emotional. So I care about the why of things. So writing down my story is very easy for me. It may not be easy for you, but for me, that's why this part is easy, because it's kind of telling the history of your farm, of why you want to do what you're doing. So history, background, who owns it. Literally, some pieces of this are as easy as, what is your name? That's one of the things I tell people, like when I'm working with them. Let's write down your name and your address. Look, you've already gotten one step done of your business plan. Sometimes it's just checking that little piece off, right? Now, the harder part of this does tend to be the goals. We are big fans of what we call SMART goals, where you may have this overarching dream of where you want to be, but the how to get there, that's where we step back and we say, okay, what are you going to accomplish in the first year? What are you going to accomplish in the next 3 years? So here's some examples. Let's say that I grow tomatoes and my business is Taryn's Tomatoes. I can say, so I'm in Barron County, Glasgow. So I may say, I want to have the best tomatoes in Barron County, and that's my goal. Okay, well, what does that mean? How do I measure that? So, Taryn's Tomatoes will increase CSA sales by 30% in the next 2 years by adding a drop-off location. So do you see there's a time bound? It's 2 years, right? I have a percentage there of how much I want to grow, and I'm telling how I'm going to do that by adding a drop-off location. So very specific, has a timeline, things that I can, in 2 years, I can say, okay, were my sales up by 30%? Did I add that drop-off location? Since I am shorter on time, I'm not going to go through all of those. The next part of a business plan is the marketing plan. Now, when I talk about a marketing plan, what was the very first thing that pops into your head? Yep, how to get into markets. A lot of times people say Facebook, TikTok. Any of y'all have a TikTok that I can follow? Okay, I'm going to ask you about that later. Love me some TikTok. I don't post anything on TikTok, but I look at it every day. But you all are very right. It is beyond like those social media things. It's looking at your markets. It's looking at your competition. Even if some of that competition is friendly, it's still competition, right? We had a Nerf war at our staff retreat the other night, and I shot my boss straight up in the back with a Nerf gun. Friendly competition, it can be nice, but still competition. So pricing strategies, how do you price your item? Are you going to the local grocery store to see what they charge? Are you going to the farmer's market to see what they're charging? How are you doing those things? So the marketing plan tends to be the biggest section of the business plan. All right, I'm going to skip through some of these things. All right, so now if you are a more analytical brain, this is the part that is easiest to you because this is more of the how you do your business, not the why. Why do you think this part is important in a business plan? Yeah. How are you doing this? Have you thought through what your process is going to be? So it's good for you to think through that, but also we really focus some of this on why you're writing this. So are you writing this because you need a business plan for a grant? Are you writing this business plan because you need a loan? Whoever that ultimate person who's reading this is, they may need to see and have faith that you are able to do what you're doing, that your process makes sense, that you're not saying, oh yeah, I'm going to slaughter 100 beef cows every year, but I only have an acre of land, right? So does your process make sense? Operations. So this is a lot of the what of your business. So up here you will see that there's things like how many barns do you have? How much equipment do you have? Now we don't expect you to list every single rake and every single small piece of equipment, but this shows what you currently have. you all put a lot of money of your own money into this business. So sometimes it's difficult for all of us to see that. So if we list it out and you can see, oh, I have a substantial amount of money into this. I have 50 tomato thingies. I think that's the official term, tomato thingies. And that's about this much money. Like, I have way more invested in this business than I thought I did. Also in this section, we're going to look at what are the regulations that govern you. Are you a rabbit processor? What does that mean? Is it vegetables? Are you going to do sliced tomatoes and sell a value-added product versus just raw tomatoes? What does that mean? Then the last is everybody's favorite, the financial plan. Now, everybody at KCARD is a little different. I do not ask for your money right up front. I want you to get to know me and trust me that I will not share your information. I come from a very rural area where if you ask somebody how much they made, they ask you, why do you need to know that? So we don't ask for that necessarily right up front. But one of the things that the business plan has is a financial outlook. So we look at what you've been doing, maybe for the past 2 or 3 years, and we can help project out. An example of why we would do that, though this is not the only example, it is a common example. I have some people who say, this is my part-time thing. I really want farming to be my full-time thing. I want to quit my job and I want to farm full-time. When would I be able to do that? So we can look at what you've done, look at what your goals are, what you're doing, and project out to see, well, in 3 years, this is how much money you're going to be clearing roughly with your farm if you continue on this path. And then that can be helpful for you to see, oh, I could maybe quit my job in 2 years if that's the case. So that's not the only reason we do the financial projections, but it is one of the reasons to do them. Okay, so we have, like I said, we have our template. It is 3 pages of questions, but there is also this really big one, Southern Sayer does, and it is very, very, very thorough. Ours is 3 pages, and we will help you with it. But I always like to have a lot of information, so you can find ours at that link, and you can find theirs at that link. But remember, I know I went through this quickly, but the main thing that I want you to remember is that this is all free. We can't write it for you, but I can help you. I can help review it. I can help think through things with you, and I can do that at your kitchen table. You don't got to come to me. I will come to you. May not be me specifically, but I got 13, for the most part, okay, coworkers. Just kidding. They're all fantastic. They let me shoot them with Nerf guns. So we can help you. Let us help you in whatever way we can. Yes, ma'am. No, because we modify it fairly often just to kind of keep up with the times. But if you'll email me, I can email it to you. Okay, and I have my cards up here. So, and that is our main website, our telephone number if you would like for us to go ahead and come out to you. And this QR code, that is, you can sign up for our newsletters that way. We have 2 newsletters. One is all about funding. So every month we send out the open grants that are available to agriculture people in Kentucky. And then the other is kind of our general newsletter. All right, do y'all have any questions for me? All right, I'll be hanging around.